Life Talks. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, students, professors, teachers, and everyone who is present today. Very good afternoon to all of you. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. We have the participants climbing up. It's moving, crossing 150. We have 1,000 people, 1,000 people who have registered today. And thank you so much, student ladies and gentlemen, professors, teacher, academicians, all of you. We are extremely elated, glad to be here today for our first session of Life Talks. We'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we start. We'll introduce all our distinguished guests and my co-host as we move forward. Very good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon from employability.live. We have students from all across India, across all demographics, and we have students from our partners who have been so supportive in collaborating with us. And this is our first endeavor to deliver one of our career development sessions to our students. So here we start. Hello and welcome to Life Talks, our session 1. My name is Raja Dasgupta and I'm the Executive Vice President for Employability.live. And I'm the moderator for this session as well. I will be co-hosted along with my colleague, Ms. Anindita Das, who is the Director, Partner Engagement, Employability.live. Welcome, Anindita. Anindita is a professional with 26 years of experience in diverse areas such as student engagement and management, entrepreneurship, channel partner management, operations across multiple global organizations. Welcome, Anindita, and thanks for co-hosting this session with me.
Thank you, Raja. Hello, everybody.
Before I introduce our guest speaker of the day, let me take this pleasure of welcoming the students who are proudly known as Generation Z. Yes, Generation Z, or do I say, the future of India's digital economy. Welcome and a big thank you for being on the session. I would also like to welcome all the professors, representatives of all our partner organizations, institutions who have taken out time to be here today. Now, what is Life Talks all about? It's multiple sessions every month by professionals with global experience. Multiple sessions every month by professionals with global experience. We focus on helping you understand the nuances and importance around growth mindset, influence, digital career, and cultural intelligence. An orientation of these capabilities, as I mentioned, will give you the competitive advantage in this very demanding job market. As an organization, our objective is to make the students of our esteemed partners be ready for the euphoria around digital economy. So now you understand why we all have joined this session, to prepare you successfully enter and grow within the constantly changing job market of Industry 4.0. So if I need to summarize, a student's employability is no more about a better looking CV or a quick fix solution for interviews. It's not about assisting students to pass through the door. It's all about guiding the students to find the right door. It's about getting in and staying there. Sustainability of career is the theme of the year. It is all about climbing the growth ladder. So now let me introduce with this note today's speaker, the star of the evening or the afternoon or the morning for Marketa as she logs in from London. Hello, Marketa, who's the Vice President and Brand Communication for Employability.live. Marketa will enlighten us with the topic, Design Thinking for Career Preparation. Design Thinking for Career Preparation. Heavy yet very seamless. So Marketa joins us from London. Welcome, Marketa, once again. It might be a sunny morning in London. Marketa has experience in corporates and startups, and hence her insights would give us more diversity. Marketa began her career at PricewaterhouseCoopers. She later gained valuable exposure to the social care sector and has spent over 7 years in a variety of international educational initiatives, focusing on education technology, E2E gap solutions, program management, and design. In addition, she has extensive global workplace experience. Some announcements to make before I hand over the baton to Marketa. Before we start the session, I would like to urge each one of you to accept our trigger of the feedback link, which will come at the end of the session. Because as we receive your feedback, only then we'll be able to, our platform will be able to trigger subsequently a certificate of engagement to each one of you. I would urge all of you to give your feedback because feedback and your encouragements are extremely valuable for us. We all also have an exciting competition and my colleague will keep on updating you on the chat. Exciting competition. All of you are Generation Z. So the best platform for you is Instagram. Log into at Employability Live, and the winner gets a t-shirt merchandised by Employability.live. All you have to do is that one thing which you learned from this session, that one thing which you learn in the session, or that one thing which you feel will give you an enlightenment for your career. Put them on the employability page or the Instagram page of at Employability Live, and you could be a winner, and the winner will be announced in our next session on 16 September 2022. So Marketa, over to you. Before we say, I would like to quote Sir Nelson Mandela, and he says, here I go, there is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than one you're capable of living. So with this note, we all understand the important aspects of career preparations are based on following factors. Identify the best career option based on your interest and your skills. Prioritize your steps, which will give you a roadmap. Access the environment around you, the factors which are around, and then make the right choice by setting the SMART goals. So we currently have So Marketa, we currently have about learners all across the country, across different age groups, different streams. So how do we ensure that we don't feel, underestimated, or, in this digital age, don't get overloaded with information which is boring or not relevant to us. So we understand design thinking approach show us the right kind of direction in our professional and personal growth. So we would like you to take us through how design thinking play a role in this process of career planning. Over to you, Marketa. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you so much to Mr. Raja and also to Ms. Anindita for hosting the session today. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Raja just told you how do we make sure that this is not just another session, another webinar. How do we keep you here for the next 30 minutes? We are so happy that you have joined us. Obviously, a time is the most valuable thing that we have. So we want to make sure that you will enjoy it. And before I will share my screen, but again, you will be very much part of the conversation. And this is a sort of a first way for me to answer Mr. Raja's question. So how do we do design thinking for our career preparation when we can't do that without you? Because this is something that you will have to do yourself in the first place. So I will be sharing my screen, but we will also be using the chat window. So please use it. I would like to just very quickly again just say a warm welcome from London, and Raja, unfortunately today is not sunny here. Today is the typical rainy day, and I want to also acknowledge everybody that join us. I see names such as Anjali, Anuja, Anushka, Apurva. I see many names. I see them alphabetically, so if I don't see your name, it's maybe because you're down the list. I see Gaurav, I see Edward, I see Harshal. I have recently visited India, and I've been in 4 cities, in Ahmedabad, in Delhi, in Calcutta, and also in Bangalore. So we would love to know, where are you connecting from? So let us know in the chat window. How are you doing today? Where are you connecting from? And please stay engaged. I promise you the session won't be long, but it is just to give you this one thing for you to take from today, so that you can know that this time was worth it for you. So if you learn one thing today, either any day during the day or during this webinar, which we definitely hope for, then we know that we have succeeded. So please let us know, how are you, where are you from right now connecting, and I will, while you're doing it, I will just quickly share my screen. So now you should be able to see it, hopefully. So what are we talking about today? Why are we today? How are we doing it? You know, we just met here on this webinar. So this is what we will be doing for the next 10 weeks. So this is our first session, and whatever idea or recommendation you will have or feedback, we will be much appreciated for, and you will be definitely asked for it at the end of the session. So to design thinking for career preparation, as you see, there are 2 different sections there. You see there is something written about design thinking, there is something written about career preparation. So I guess when you hear the word career preparation, you already can start having thoughts. Okay, another career prep talk, you know, yeah, we have to write our CV, our resume, we have to start our LinkedIn profile, we have to start using social media. So I wonder if you can maybe start thinking, and maybe you can also use the chat window. Do you think you have the skills today to get you the dream job? And what do you think those skills are? We hear about different skills, right? Maybe are those communication skills? Are those presentation skills? Any skill that comes to your head we would love to hear from you. So let us know. I will have a look quickly in the chat window whether there is anybody, and Raja or Anindita, please feel free to interrupt me and let me know, are you seeing there any skills that, because I can't see the chat window, so can you let me know, do you see students sharing any skills, Anindita, any skills that they find as ones that they already possess or that they need to get to land a job or to get the career of their dreams?
Not yet,
Not yet.
Marketa.
Not yet. Okay.
Ladies,
So hopefully we
young
will be
ladies
able.
and gentlemen, young ladies and gentlemen, request all of you to put in your responses on the chat window, and we'll be very happy to,
Okay.
get your feedback on that.
And I think this is a good moment to also mention that this session, it's a way for to connect. So while maybe hopefully today you will learn something from us about how to think about your future career, we also want to learn from you. So you may have a very different idea about what is the right skill, and we have some ideas, and together collaboratively we could maybe come up to the right answer. And this is maybe something that happens to all of us who has been through the school system, that sometimes we think, oh, is this the right answer, is this the wrong answer? So I believe there is really nothing such as wrong answer, as long as we can have that open and safe debate. So please remember, whatever you write in the chat window, you are in a safe space. Nobody will criticize you for bad answers. There is nothing such a bad answer. We can definitely discuss and understand your thought process better. Okay, so for me personally, as I would say, and something I hope you will take away from today's webinar, one of the key skills, and that is this predominant topic as part of the design thinking, it's think on your feet, think outside the box, be creative. So all these words that may sound a bit abstract to you, you will hear a lot during this session. So maybe that skill can be just improvise. The skill can be smart, be street smart. Maybe you have heard that word before. So comparing to is getting a job, or is thinking of your career just about writing a good CV, or is it about what could I do tomorrow? Could I call someone and ask for recommendation? What are the tricks, tactics, things that we can think about differently than maybe we haven't thought before? So hopefully you will get a few tips today and share with us again at the end of the session or during the session. We have allocated the Instagram post for that purpose, but also this chat window. So this
Marketa,
is.
I'm so sorry to interrupt in between. I've been getting some interesting responses from chat, and I thought I'll mention to you. So there are skills which are like leadership skills, communication skills, teaching skills, smart work, communication skills. Again, nice. So communication skills is coming up to be a very predominant important skill of their choice. And somebody says imaginative skills. So I think imagination, communication, smart working, and teaching and leadership are the predominant skills which are coming on the chat box.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Raja. And finally, I can see the chat as well. So I can acknowledge and thank Kashish and Anuja and Devyani, Homesh, Akshay, Sujata. Thank you so much, Harshad. I want to thank all of you. I'm so happy that you have started engaging. Neha, thank you, Gaurav. Absolutely. So yes, and I love also that way, the designing thinking, the creating thinking, Sumit coding skills. I wonder, Sumit, if you're from IT background, and we will speak also in the next few minutes. Does all this design thinking only apply to IT people, accounting people? Like, who should be listening to this in the first place? So thank you so much for your answers, and let's quickly move on. And this might be actually interesting to the IT guys, but maybe they have heard before terms like lean, terms like agile, and I will ask you that in a quick poll just shortly. But when we break today's topic, career preparation, and when we hear the word design thinking, you will maybe come across this design thinking word in the future as part of your jobs. Maybe if you will want to work in a team with someone, because all this that we are talking about is a lot about depending not just on yourself but on others, in a way of how can we work together to achieve certain outcome, whether it's work together successfully to complete the project, may that project be landing a job or designing successful career. It's all about collaboration. So design thinking, you will maybe hear that in the future as part of a project management set of topics, but I definitely don't want to be giving any lectures. So let's just keep talking about how are we understanding this topic practically. What are the practical things to think of career? So just very quickly to find out about our audience, Raja, if you could just launch the poll and just find out, so how many of you heard the word agile, and are you familiar with it? Just so the reason for this poll is just to understand whether we maybe have more tech people here, or whether we have maybe somebody more from the humanities. And that doesn't mean that what you study is something that you will end up doing in the future. And again, this is all also interesting topic for all of us. Some of us may have studied economics. Some of us wanted to be something completely different when we were growing up, and our ideas started changing. But also, what has started changing is the world around us. So there are new opportunities emerging, new jobs emerging. So how do we even plan for future jobs that may not be even there? So can anybody just, Raja, if you can just comment how are we with the poll and how long you want to keep it on before we show the results?
We're getting flows of comments coming in. So we have about 246 people out of 450 plus people who are attending. And here we go, we stop and end the poll here. And the results.
So no, oh wow. So, okay, great. So I just to not make it too boring for those who heard it before, but just to let to know to those 58% who have not heard the word before, that makes me happy that you haven't heard it, because then you will learn at least that one thing today. You can definitely Google it, because as I said, I don't want to be giving any a session in terms of what does it mean agile. It's just, but very generally, again, you will find agile technique as a way to project manage a project as part of a project management, where you break whatever you plan, you break it into smaller phases, and then when you break it down, you may want to make sure that you test or whatever you have assumed, because that plan may start quickly changing. So how do you adjust quickly to all changes? And this might be very familiar to, as I mentioned, guys in IT. They may be quite used to plan their weeks, plan their months quite in a structured manner, but at the same time, because things needs to move so fast, how do they operate so that they can quickly make new adjustments to their projects? So, and again, one of the key things of agile is also working in teams. So whether you plan, whether you execute, whether you evaluate, that's what you will hear about when you hear the word agile. So it's about timing, it's about breaking things into small parts. So now you hear the word career plan, you hear the word career design. So what's the difference? When you plan for your project, again, you plan to get a job. So you break it down into a calendar, and now you think, okay, it's gonna take me this many days. I have to do this, I have to send so many job applications. So this is one way to think about job, like in a very structured manner. And we are not telling you that you should stop planning, you should forget structure involved, but we just telling you exactly what I said at the beginning of the session. Think as a designer. How does designer work? How does designer think when he or she is creating project. See, as you see this picture here on the screen, and you may be familiar with the game, you sort of have some basis. You base your ideas about your career on some previous experiences you have. You have some skills, you have some experience. But as you do that, you may be testing how far you can get to where you want to get. So sort of that more creative trial and error experiment, it's more the way to think about it. So if you get rejected for a job, don't worry too much. Maybe there are other ways how you can get there. And again, we will share those practical tips how to do it. So just stay with us for how many more, 20 more minutes or 15 minutes, and hopefully you will learn how to do that. So just very quickly, I just wanted to tell you, show you this example, very good example, how things changed over time and why we need to also change our way we do things. We have to change the way we run projects. We have to change our way we apply for jobs. That's normal because things change very quickly. When not that many years ago, when I was growing up, this was the type of phone I was using. And all of you, as Mr. Dashgupta mentioned at the beginning, you're Generation Z, so you are born at least, I think, 10, 15 years after me. So you have never used the phone that you see here, and you're all on your smart devices. My first phone I got was when I was 16, and it looks something like, definitely nothing like your phones today. So again, this is just to emphasize the need, the understanding of how things change quickly. So quickly back to the chat window, just so know that you are still with us. Would you let me know which career are you interested to pursue? So today you're thinking, do you even know? You can even say, I don't know. Do we have here any entrepreneurs? Do we have here any future teachers, any future program developers, cybersecurity managers? Who do we have here? Is there anybody who has some interesting career they want to pursue? Would you just mention any? Let me just see who's responding, if anybody is there. Oh, Pert wants to be a singer. That's amazing. Then we have all PPO wants to be in marketing. Brilliant. Then Utkarsh, designer. Brilliant, Utkarsh. So you will have the perfect brain, the perfect mind, exactly for this kind of thinking, right? So how can I get inspired by someone else's approach to career? So that's one way to think about designing your career. How did your friend, how did your colleague, how did the person you know in that particular job, let's say you want to be a singer, so how a friend of yours who is a singer, you network with them, you connect with them, and they will help you get there. So it's same in programming. You want to be a programmer, then make a friend with a programmer and ask, how did you get the job? What did you do? Who did you speak with? Can you connect me to somebody? We have Sajal, fashion stylist, amazing. We have, I hope those are also future entrepreneurs. Marketing manager, web developer, awesome. So for Danish, this agile term will be hopefully useful, unless I'm sure they already knew it. Ayush, also web designer, awesome. So thank you so much for sharing your careers. And one of the reason I was asking you about careers, again, to emphasize how we think today. Oh, so for example, I think when I was actually when I was same age as you, I wanted to be a dentist. I was studying for 2 years to become a dentist. I thought I'm gonna make a lot of money. I thought everybody knows, like everywhere in the world, I can be a dentist. And then as I was thinking about that, I imagined myself, and this is one way you think about your career. Can you imagine yourself being that, doing that every day? And this is what stopped me. So I imagined that every day I will have to sit by that chair, by that person every day in the same place, and I won't be able to travel. I won't be able to meet people where I can actually talk to them, because as a dentist, probably you can't talk to those people that much. So that's why we're speaking about this approach of designing your career, because maybe you have certain idea, or we used to have our parents, for example. If you would tell your parents, oh, I want to be a doctor, I'm sure they will be very happy. But actually what they don't know, that today's doctors get so frustrated because they have to deal with so much technology. I have lots of doctors who are my friends, and all they do every day is just computer putting data in. So there is a certain stereotype, and then there is that reality, and we need to stay up to date. And how do we stay up to date? That we connect with people, we discuss with other people, we network, we learn from them, and based on that we adjust, we make those changes, we make those adjustments, just like we would do if we want to be successful in working on any product or working on any service. Same for our career. We have to quick think of our feet, improvise, and of course have your resume perfect, have your LinkedIn perfect. But today it's all about what's next, what's the extra thing, what will set you apart from the rest. Especially in India, I can imagine how many students or how many people do apply just for one job position. So isn't this demotivating at certain point, that you're sending a CV and there will be thousands and thousands of other people? So think again, who do you know in your circle between your friends, who you can speak to, who can connect you? One more thing I want to mention, the word that we also speak in this word a lot is uncertainty. How many of us 2-3 years ago ever thought that we will suddenly or just work from home, or just will be stuck, won't be able to go outside? I don't even want to say what was the reason. I don't want to hear it again, but we all know things can change unexpectedly, and we will have to quickly adjust. So things that were hard before, suddenly everybody had to quickly think of their feet, get their internet sorted. So one thing is, can we just spend our time trying to think how to make our lives less painful, or can we just get more tools and more ways how to deal with things? So this is also one of the reasons why we have connected here, just to give you another way how to deal with such difficult things like uncertainty in life. So always think for those tools, think what is out there, and hopefully one of these today will help you. So design thinking, it's about observing, look around, learn from others, get inspired what other people do. Maybe you watch some influencer, maybe attending this webinar is helpful. Anything that is, just observe first, do your research check before you start investing your time. I said this at the beginning of the session, time is everything. Time is the most expensive thing you have, so use it wisely. The second word, those 3 keywords here, keep thinking about them: networking, connecting with others. I will show you just very briefly a few practical tips how to do. And last but not least, understanding yourself. So understand yourself, ask yourself what motivates you, ask others, try to understand. And again, it's all sort of overlaps. How do you understand what do you want, and how do you understand what the realities of the world are out there? So we also refer to this understanding of yourself as a working identity. You may hear this in the future. And this is again just to repeat what I keep saying all the time. It's not just about getting a job. It's by far not just about getting a CV. Although we will give you some future in one of future sessions also tips on how to get your CV robot ready. But this is about creating working identity, understanding about who you are, what motivates you. So ask yourself, and again, maybe you can write in the chat window. I would love to hear from Ashish or Vibhavi or Malika, Sejal, or Gaurav or Ayush, or who else, Kiran, Aishwarya. What motivates you? So even that moment of you thinking, it can be money, it's okay. It can be some higher purpose in life, it's okay too. Everybody has different motivation, but that understanding that in the first place, that is what will keep you persistent, because all this about your future, it's about a lot of persistency, lots of investment into those trial and errors. You will be making mistakes, and that's okay, because you will learn from them. But understanding all of it should eventually lead you to what one may call a successful career, or maybe happy life as well, hopefully. So here are the tips I'm keep leading to. So practically, you may be thinking, oh, Marketa, you're just talking about all this. So design, what? So what it is practically, what do I actually need to do? So one example is just list down all the jobs you're interested in, list down all the organizations you're interested in, list down all the industries you're interested in. Once you do that, that's when you can start thinking, how many people do I actually know there? Who do I know there? How can I get to them? So obviously LinkedIn, it's one of the ways. Some of you maybe are on LinkedIn. And I'm on LinkedIn too. You can connect with me. But what is about this LinkedIn, for example, a way of connecting with others? So sometimes I receive just a random email. Hello, madam, how are you? See, if you are connecting someone, remember what I told you, their time is valuable too, so is yours. So if you're connecting with them because you're trying to get something, maybe a recommendation, maybe a useful tip or anything else, you need to show that you genuinely are interested into talking to them. And how do you do that? For example, maybe did they write an article? Did they participate in a session somewhere? Did they do something that really got your attention and inspired you? And same if you are trying to get a job in a respective company and you find out, again, LinkedIn allows you that, you find out who works there, learn more about the company, what projects they're working on that you can generate an interesting discussion about, and maybe even refer to in that either LinkedIn or in-person conversation when you speak to them. So here you hear some terms here and there. For example, the outsider problem. This is something positive for those when I was saying, oh guys, I understand if you look for a job one day, you will be like, oh, there is not enough. There is not enough. So the outsider problem means there is that sort of iceberg thing that you have heard a million times about. There is things we see and there are things we don't see. So there are these things in the back where there are people who we can speak to, there are jobs there that have not been created yet. And again, I also used to like using my example. After I worked in company that was focusing on audit, that was very structured, very corporate, and I knew I want to go more into a startup world that may have more freedom, but then that freedom comes also with price of working much harder, much longer hours. I thought, what can I get out of this? So I have created my own position. I have created position that not existed before. So even maybe if you don't know today, don't be stressed, don't worry. Maybe you will create that position for yourself one day. So all these things, all these words here, I've already, if you have any questions about them, please do type. And I will also leave a few minutes for Anindita for more Q&As. But just let's move on to make sure that we have covered everything what regards to this design thinking for your career planning. So understand who is your audience. If you're talking to someone, if it's an employee, your future employer, if it's for Sakshi who wants to be a fashion designer, maybe you speak to those people who are working in a fashion studio or who are designers. And then when you're asking them questions, ask them informed questions. Or if you want to be a web developer and you know someone who is a web developer or who employs them, when you start conversation with them, think more like, oh, sir, oh, madam, can I get the job? No, you just say, I have heard that you have done this, this, and that. I'm thinking I would be very good in contributing this, this, and that. Or I have read this interesting article. Have you heard? So be interesting, be knowledgeable, show that you are giving some value, that just talking about certain topic, you're enriching someone. You have given them something, you have taught them something that didn't know before they spoke to you. So think how you can genuinely engage them in a conversation from which they will learn something and they will never forget that they spoke to you. How can you add value? How can you be unique? How you're uniquely helping to add something to the company, to the project, to the organization. Okay, so all these topics that we are covering here today, and that you will also, some of them, hear about in the coming weeks, are part of what we call career intelligence. So stay tuned for more topics in the future. And I don't have more things on the career design topic now, but I just want to remind you, give you a few more reminders. But before I do that, Raja, if you allow me just to quickly look in the chat window and maybe just see if there are any questions. So because Devyani was asking about how to ask for referrals on LinkedIn. So Devyani, thanks. Is it okay, Raja? Can I quickly address few Q&As?
Yeah, Marketa, if you can just maybe deactivate the share screen so that, all of us can look at you and ask those relevant questions. So I
Okay.
think it's interesting before we move into the Q&A session, and we have approximately about 5 to 6 minutes left to closure and hand over to Anindita. I think let me first accept and acknowledge on behalf of every student here, and I've been seeing students congratulating, participating. First, let me acknowledge the fact that it's being an exhilarating session. Thanks, Marketa, for such a wonderful insights to the topic. Second, I think we must acknowledge the fact that the students and the participants who are there here, there are about 500 plus participants who are there today, have been communicating so aggressively, and in the sense, aggressive to the positive sense, has been so communicative in terms of sharing their feelings, sharing their thoughts, sharing their creative aspiration, aspects of their interests, skills. And thank you so much. You've not been getting such a lovely audience, and I must acknowledge that. So what Marketa, just to summarize, it says, observe. I noted down a few points. Observe around you. I think that's a very good input. Network within and outside your ecosystem with people, and then finally understand yourself. That's being very, very important key, and I've noted down. That's been my takeaway. There are other takeaways like have a purpose. I think that's very important. You need to have a purpose, and and you should know your purpose, and that's very important. And last but not the least, time is the most expensive thing. I think that's exactly what I could take away. And all of you, I would request all of you to put down your best takeaway and participate in the contest on Instagram. And it's going to be, it's now or never. It's going to be open till about 12 o'clock in the night. You have a chance to win your lucky gift till 12 o'clock, and the best response will get the merchandise copy from us. And thereafter, I think it's for more questions, put down your questions on the chat window as I hand over the baton to my colleague and co-host for today's session, Ms. Anindita Das. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raja. And hello, everybody. There has been a lot of activities going on in the chat window, and appreciate that. It was a big response, but I think one question, Marketa, which is coming up from this crowd is basically the fact that people say that you should gain experience and you should do internships, okay? But their problem is it is difficult to get an internship. It is rather easy to get a job. So how would you guide them in that terms as to how should one approach for internships?
Thank you. And I know it was Shalini asking that. Thank you, Shalini. This is a very interesting question. I thought getting internship is as hard as getting a job. So I'm thinking really depending on what you want, and this is something I really hope that you will be able to get from today. It is kind of mix of both. You have to have that approach of there is a list I have made, and now I will go one by one and try to apply to all those organizations, speak to all these people. So this is sort of the old way, and fine. That's the basis for everything. But as we spoke today about this design thinking on top of it, What is it that we can do extra? Can you speak to someone, all those respective companies, all those your friends, your parents' friends? Can you speak to someone? Can you, and there was one more interesting question that I want to actually connect it to about LinkedIn. How do we actually approach people on LinkedIn? And I hope we've answered it. That was from Devyani. So Devyani was asking how it. So yes, that sort of outside of the box thinking. You can actually write a message, or you can just comment on someone else's post and say, this is very interesting. I would love to speak to you. Would you be available this day, this hour? Be very proactive, but think as if you were them. Put yourself in the employer shoes. One day, all of you will be entrepreneurs. You will have your own jobs. Maybe you will be big bosses one day, and you will be looking for people. So think, who would you hire? Put yourself in their shoes. Who would you hire? Would you hire someone who just says, oh, I want a job, I want a job? Or would you hire someone who shows that they really want to work with you, that you see, oh, this person has really learned about me, or this person really is trying to help me? And they will definitely engage with you more likely than if you just say, oh, hi. So I hope that helped a bit. Anindita, before I let's do a few more questions, and we promise this won't be too long, and we are getting there. But I also just wanted to remind all the students that as part of this competition, that if they go on the Instagram, if they comment there, what is the one thing that they learned today? It can be what you learned today at the webinar, or it can be whatever you have learned overall today. So don't worry. And also I want to remind everyone that there will be a feedback request at the end. But Anindita, over to you. If you have picked a few more questions, I will be so happy to answer.
Yes. Marketa, one more thing, and this is an answer to one of the questions which was in the chat. What if they don't have an Instagram account? And the answer to that, I would say, is it's an excuse today to maybe get onto Instagram today.
Exactly. And trust me, everybody there, I sympathize with you. As I said, I'm definitely 15 years older than you, unless for some faculty we might be more similar age. I had to start my Instagram as well, exactly for that purpose of understanding students better, right? Understanding each other better. So that doesn't mean you will use the Instagram, that you don't have to put pictures there. But I think it's a painful way for the older of us to get out there and understand better each other. So if this is what the generation of our students is what they enjoy, then we should try to understand so that we can be closer to them. So that's my answer to you. It took me many years to get there, but I did. I'm a Facebook girl, so yeah.
That's our generation, I think, Marketa. Nowadays, it's only Instagram. One thing which I just wanted to...
LinkedIn.
Yeah, of course, LinkedIn. And one thing which I just wanted to point out is something which Ayush Bhavane has written. And he says that one should take some knowledge from the field you're working in, and then make some projects or stuff to showcase, and then add it to your personal experience and show it. And I think that is a lovely input which he has given to everybody. And I think that is one response which he has given when people were asking about internship. And I really appreciate that, Ayush. Well done.
Thank you, Ayush. Thank you. Sorry, Anindita, to interrupt just very quickly. When you have seen, I was showing the elevator picture. You saw, if you were looking at the screen and not on your Instagram, you saw it was a picture of an elevator. So there is that famous word called elevator pitch. And you may have heard it as part of doing sales, trying to sell a product, trying to sell a service. So in this case today, what we have to do is sell ourselves. It doesn't really sound, very glamorous, but that's what it is. And Ayush, this is perfect example. Like, think, what is the thing that you have done? How can you promote it? How can you sell yourself? How can you present yourself? But as I said, don't make it just all about you, especially if you're trying to network and have a conversation with someone. Show genuine interest in them first, and then you will definitely get an opportunity. If you follow up, you have to do follow-ups, another tip. You will definitely get the opportunity to share more about you too. Sorry, Anindita, go ahead.
Yeah, Marketa, one more thing which I came across is when you're talking about LinkedIn, and you were saying that, you can connect with people on LinkedIn. They have a question here. how to know who to follow in LinkedIn. How does one make oneself visible in LinkedIn? I think that is the reason why that is a question which came in. Somebody who is new to LinkedIn, how does one go about it?
Right, very good question. And especially if we have somebody who wants to be in different industry, you may ask, if I want to be a doctor, do I really need to be on LinkedIn, right? But then, as I said, it's more about growing that community. So first, again, you ask yourself, why do I want to get on LinkedIn? For what motivates me? So what may motivate you is that you can get really easily connected to other people the same way you get connected on Facebook. So some of you who are not so familiar, LinkedIn is like the Facebook for professionals. So how do you go about it? You have to again think who you are, how you want to present yourself. There is you can write an article about yourself. You can make an interesting post the same way you post on Facebook. This you post in a professional manner about your profession, about your interest. You engage in discussion. So if you follow someone, again, it has those similar features like other social media. If you follow someone, you can then comment under whatever they write and start building that relationship. And I know that free version of LinkedIn also allows you to send, when you're connecting with someone, write a short note, why are you connecting with them? So there are, again, you have to find your ways around.
Yeah. Thank you, Marketa. I think that is very interesting. Additionally, one more thing, which I came across, Vedant, I think, is asking, can you please tell us some famous trustworthy website or companies that provide online certification in some skills? But, honestly, I think Marketa would respond to that. They want to attach it to their resume. So that is one question which I came across.
Thank you. Personally, again, because as you know, we are not working for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also a business. So this is not way to promote it, but I believe it became as common medium to everyone as Instagram, as Facebook, as those are the common tools right now. So sorry, Anandi, I just actually lost you were saying?
Yeah, basically, the question is they want some reference of some
Oh,
sites
for the
where they
certificate,
can
right.
get themselves certified, so those certification can be attached to their CVs. Marketer, just one thought from my side is that it is not always important to attach those kind of certification to the CVs. It's important that one acquire the skill sets. So that I think is important.
Anindita, you
So
gave me a
over to you.
brilliant hint. Thank you. Because I was about to divert into all those old school ways of thinking about how we should think about our career. So yes, CV is important. I was saying it at the beginning. Having LinkedIn is important, but then how can you think a different way around it? So obviously all the credible companies you have out there, whether it's Google, whether it's any other big company that provides certification for your technical skills or soft skills. I know LinkedIn does learning, some maybe has some free resources, but on YouTube you have so much. So do you really need a certificate? As I said, maybe for technical skills, that's something you should consider. But what we are exploring today here are the so-called soft skills, those skills like we spoke about at the beginning that focus on communication, critical thinking, design thinking, and all these other additional stuff that you can have all the technical skills in the world. But because there might be thousands of the same people who have exactly the same certificate like you. There will be thousands of people who done exactly the same course like you. But how did you find a job? That's what we were trying to talk about today. What was the way? How did you get it there? And hopefully somehow it helped you today a little bit to think about it in that different way. Thank you, Andy.
Okay, just one more question here. This is basically a query which I found very interesting. I think it's from Dak Patel. He's saying that considering a lot of employees today now work from home, and it makes it even more challenging to get internships. Okay, so how does one handle that?
How do you do online internship?
Absolutely.
Again,
there are a lot of opportunities today for online internship.
yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes. There are definitely lots of, thank you, Doug, for the question. Absolutely, lots of internships available online through different platforms. So I just recommend students just Google how can you do maybe a project there. Also, I want to mention to you, many of you may be on your current institution engage in something that we call project-based learning. Maybe you don't even have to look for internship per se. Maybe you have already worked on a project with someone that you will be then able to articulate to someone else about during your interview. So again, think outside of the box. Don't use the word internship. I would always be scared about putting boxes, because I sometimes feel I may be called a vice president, but I feel I'm constantly being an intern. I'm constantly interning. I'm doing so many different jobs. So that's why jobs change so much. So don't think as an internship as a word, think of it as an work on a project, help someone, help someone, create a team, work together, be creative together, be entrepreneurial, walk in and say, how can I help? How can I contribute? When you comment, are you working on something? Can I assist you? So and then put it on your CV during your interview, say, I have assisted someone doing something, right? So maybe don't limit yourself to the word internship. Again, think, design thing, be creative about, if I was, for example, just personal example, my mother works for an organization of writers. She always needs some help with website. So I'm now being a presenter for a webinar, but late nights I'm helping to design and program a website. So am I a web designer? Is that an internship? My mother doesn't pay me for it. So, but in the future, if I would be looking for some job, I could say, you know what, I've actually designed a website. I've actually fixed a website for someone, and it's a credible experience.
Yeah, Marketa, what I understand you saying is it's often we are unable to articulate in a proper manner what we have done. And we think those things which we have done are very small. They need not be articulated and presented in the right context. So I would now address a question to Raja. Okay, and I found that question to be very interesting. I find somebody asking this question, I'm sorry, I didn't remember your name. Why a person chose a job rather than choosing a business? Raja, if you would
I
like to
think it's a
address
very,
this question.
very, thanks, Anita. I know we are really running
Yeah, we are
over
running. I think
time,
maybe
and
We
but I
promise
think
this
it's
will
good
be
that we
short.
started on time and we are kind of loaded with a lot of questions. It's a very interesting question, and I just want to address it. I think in our country, if we have to increase more jobs, we have to we have to have more job creators as well as job seekers. I think that's very important. On one side we have job seekers, on the other side we need to have job creators. That's how the multiplication of jobs will happen. However, here we are talking about design thinking and career preparation. So we are not saying career preparation that only means that you have to go and work for somebody. You can always work for yourself. But design thinking as a concept, whatever Marketa mentioned as a tool, can be imbibed and integrated in your approach while preparing for your career. I think that's very important. And nobody is saying that you need to, most of the entrepreneurs of the Silicon Valleys are Indians. I mean, most of the startups are Indians. And why do they need to go and contribute outside? They can always contribute here. So I think design thinking as a concept, if you can imbibe that in your career preparation, you would be able to identify based on your skills and career aspiration and your strengths, whether your first is which domain you need to choose, and within the domain, whether you need to work for somebody or you can work for yourself. You can start early. The faster you fail, people say, the faster you fail, you grow faster. That's it.
Awesome. We have to finish. We promise this won't be long. Oh, you're muted, Anindita. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was muted. So thank you so much, Raja, as well as Marketa. That was a very interesting session. I can see still now questions coming up, but I think, we will now engage more on a regular basis with these new sessions coming up. And all of you, those who are here right now, who has been throughout tuned to this session, just wanted to share with you that all of you, and thank you so much. I mean, I'm getting now compliments on the chat screen, Marketa. People are appreciating the session. What I just wanted to share also with you is you are all, because this session has been such an interactive one, you are eligible for a attendance certificate. We would say a participation certificate. And as Marketa closes this, you will see a feedback form in your screen. Okay. It's important for you to fill up that feedback form and submit. Okay. As well, and that would be very important for us to know, out of all of these candidates who registered, who are the people who were there with us till the end. And those people are the ones who would be definitely getting the certificate from us. But that would happen by the weekends. Okay. So thank you so much. You would get a certificate, of course. And once you receive it, you can always get back to us with your comments on that. And we are looking forward also to you joining us on 16th of September, where we have our next session. Okay. So Raja, your last words, please.
Thank you so much. Wonderful audience, fantastic audience. And our first session has been a total combination of great audience, interactive audience, interesting questions, and an exhilarating session from Marketa. Thank you all.
Thank you all. I wish to continue the question so much. I hope to see you again.
Please fill up the feedback form. All of you, please fill up the feedback form.